So we're here with a personal injury attorney who's at the personal injury seminar that we're giving. And Chandler, if you could tell the chiropractors from an attorney perspective, how do you take a case and process it through? Like a case comes to you, can you just tell the chiropractors what you do first, second, and third to take the case to fruition?
So first, you obviously listen to the client's story. You reference that with a police report. Make sure that they're not the at-fault driver, not the most at-fault driver, and then you take a look at the medical records, assuming if they went to the ER or if they didn't, they went to a place like your place of business, and I like to wait a little bit just so you have a decent amount of records. Make sure things, see if they're getting worse, obviously, and so you don't want to send everything out prematurely. You don't want to piecemeal things. So okay, here's the first bill and first set of records to the adjuster. You wait till you kind of form a plan, or at least that's how I do it. I like to have an idea of where we're going, and then I kind of get some of these things from you, and then I kind of talk with the adjuster and present that to them.
Okay. So you'll first validate that you got a possible victim, right? Mechanism injury. You'll validate the injuries through your documentation as best possible.
Right.
I take it at that time also you're going to assess in your mind the possible value of a case with what limited documentation you have now.
Of course.
Okay. And then you accept the case and then sit on it for a while to see how it plays out.
Yeah, you obviously don't want to let it languish for too long, because what can happen is you got a client that looks really bad at the start, and then you bring that to the adjuster, and it's fresh, and they see, oh, this person's going to have a lot of problems. Sometimes what you'll see is somebody just they heal a lot way down the road, and then at that point your case is kind of shot.
Right.
But at the same time, it's a lot of finesse that goes into it, a lot of feeling, and that's a lot of communication between the chiropractor and
the doctor.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this: so you've gone down the road, you're requesting the medical records and all that, right?
Right.
Okay. And let's say we're coming toward the end of the case. You're now going to put the case together and ask for. Let me ask you this first before I go into that. What would be a decision, a major one or two decisions that you would make, whether you would say, I'm not going to accept their offer, I'm going to sue you, we'll see you in court?
Right. Well, obviously, it's you weigh out the cost of going to trial, where they're at with the offer.
What do you estimate your cost of going to trial?
It depends on how many treaters they've seen, how many doctors they've seen, because at that point, depending on whether you want to have them as just a treating physician or an expert, and depending on how many depositions you've been through at that point as well. Mm-hmm. If you've already been through all these depositions, well, you've already expended most of your costs. So it's really.
So most of your costs are going to be in the depositions.
I would say so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the trial part is a lot just more time consuming.
Just the time.
Yep.
You got to prepare. So that'll be the decision whether or not you take it to policy limit. And so you're trying to use your legal judgment to interpret a healthcare problem, right?
And two, you got to look at how far over you're going of the policy limit. So before you kind of got up to 120, 130. So if we're presenting those damages, and then you look at the adjuster and say you're subjecting your client to personal liability if he goes to trial and loses, and obviously he's going to turn around and sue you for the excess verdict.
Right.
That's a big.
It's a good motivator for you.
And it's a good motivator for them to settle, so they don't get sued on the back end.
So it helps. So even though the policy limit is lowered, it helps that you can show that, like what he said. So it goes, well, if it goes over policy limits and you win, they're still liable for it. So that's a very positive thing. Now, last couple questions is, so you get all your documentation, and you're going to now ask for your injury award, okay? Do you have a software that you use that for attorneys that they go, okay, here, plug this in here, kind of an outline software?
Well, there's usually I use a book. It's a trial court review book. Basically, it goes through and shows all these types of cases and what the jury awarded to them, and so you try to find one that's just like yours and say, hey, this is the average verdict.
No, I'm not talking about the amount. I'm talking about the structure. So you got all this random information.
Yeah, you
So
line 'em up,
what's
and then
helping you line it up? Do you have a software program to help you?
No, I just kind of do it.
So that's
by hand.
experience.
Yep. Yep.
Did you guys understand what he just said? Do you know how valuable you are when you actually, how valuable is the chiropractor when he lines all that up for you?
Like I said, it takes. I'm a lot of times overwhelmed. So if they can bring that to me, it shows the adjuster that I'm a lot more prepared. My doctors are prepared, and we're ahead of the game and they're not. So they're playing catch up.
Right.
That kind of scares them knowing that they've got an attorney that's
Well,
already prepared to go
if we
trial.
have a doctor that documents the top 5 financial drivers and the 2 major categories to defend it with the low impact and the pre-existing,
Yep.
then he knows how to take that documentation and present it in a sequential format of the 6 steps, show the mechanism of injury, subjective, hybrid, and objective, show the therapeutic protocol and why he did what he did,
Right.
show the response to treatment and how the patient responds, show the MMI and the impairment and the prognosis and the need for future care. How valuable is that to you?
Yeah, it's great because you're not the doctor that you're bringing is not going to get shredded on cross examination or direct examination.
Right. And you don't have a
or-
software that does that, do you?
No, it's all by hand. Yeah.
And if you don't have the knowledge of those 6 steps, then you're just trying to piece it together, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, I'm having a Wikipedia what this.
Do you understand
muscle is
this?
and
Do you guys understand this? Do you understand how valuable this is? The 6 steps to putting the case together for the attorney? And so if you had all that, how valuable is this chiropractor for you right now?
It's probably the only one you take whatever you get, but that guy's the guy I'm going to count on to give me advice.
Because who else because you've had several years experience dealing with large attorneys, based on what I just said, in the real world, who else do you see that's delivering that kind of material to you?
I don't see it very often.
Yeah. Thanks.